And that kind of detailed attention ultimately got it to a place where I feel it is resolved. And that's so important for you to hear, is for you to understand the details that you need to employ. Hey everyone, I'm Marianne Mitchell. Welcome to Whole Artist Mastery, which is about owning your authentic voice to make compelling work so that you can show up in the world as the artist that you want to be. Today, I'm going to be talking about the importance of details in your work, specifically in abstract painting, because we think of abstract painting as this, totally from your intuitive voice. And actually, that intuitive voice is much more accessible to both you and the viewer when the details of the painting have really been considered. And I'm choosing this painting today to illustrate what I'm talking about because it is abstract, and while it has kind of a familiar composition, it's actually an unrecognizable place. And what's so important about this painting in the way I've developed it is the very fine attunement of color gradation from warm to cool, from yellowish to pinkish to bluish, and then from a dark amber color up into orange, up into yellow. These are very finely tuned details in both the color movement as well as the value movement that make the painting be something that's ordinary to something that's going beyond ordinary. I mean, that's a very subjective statement. I'm realizing that as I'm saying it because, some people might think this is ordinary, but it is a painting where there's a lot of detail, attention put into the way this now presents itself as this foggy, luminous color against the bright, orangey, fiery colors, and how those two come together and speak to each other. As you can see, the beginning of this piece is very similar in composition to where it is now. And so early on, I set up this relationship between the top third being a darker, more intense color, and the bottom two-thirds being more muted. And in this particular iteration, there was a lot more movement in the colors down below between the icy blue and the creamy yellow. And so I knew at this point that I wanted to unify this more, even though I very much enjoyed the way the texture and the colors were working together. There was something in me that was compelled by having this be more like a band of fog that had a luminous radiance from behind. So the next iteration was where I brought in light blue along with the orange yellow as a complement to the bright orange yellow at the top and made the band along here that's next to the light color be very dark so that there's a high contrast in value between the top and the bottom here. But I felt as though the transitions, particularly in the upper third, were less subtle than I wanted them to be, and the transitions down below were also less subtle than I wanted. So I kept on going, and at this point, the bottom part, the foggy area, is more subtle, and yet there's still this blue that comes out into the open. And the top part is more active. It's a little more unified, but there's a lot of activity in the brush work. And I felt as though I wanted this dark band here to be less obvious than it is now. So the next iteration was actually where it landed for, oh, I don't know, about 6 weeks. I went away, came back, and when I left, I felt as though it was there. And what I liked about it was that I had gotten rid of the dark band and created almost like a crevice that has in areas is more revealed and then in other areas almost disappears, and having that be in contrast to the very white edges that I have. And then in the middle was the blue, and you can almost see this roundish shape of blue and pink showing from underneath the foggy, kind of misty paint quality that I have. And when I came back, I felt like this was just a little too visible, and I wanted it to be more solid than even it is here. And so that's what you see on the wall now. As you saw, this painting has really had a similar composition all the way along, and that what has shifted is the relationship between this shape in terms of color and value and this shape in terms of color and value. And as I've gone along in developing this painting, more and more what I wanted it to convey was this juxtaposition of this very misty, veiled, yet you can tell there's light behind the veil, juxtaposition with the bright, fiery color and coming out of that fog into something that's that's clear, that has clarity to it. So the combination of mystery and clarity. And so at a certain point in the last iteration before it got to where it is now, I had more blue that was more overtly visible. And it took me a while to let go of loving that blue because it was a beautiful blue and there was all this lovely texture here. But it was falling short of that drive within me that I'm unable to really explain why, that wants to have this solid veiled like quality. And the way to achieve that was to go over and over with different colors back and forth. And that kind of detailed attention ultimately got it to a place where I feel it is resolved. And that's so important for you to hear, is for you to understand the details that you need to employ to push a piece to where you feel it's where it should be, and to let the voices of other people and your attachment to maybe earlier iterations, even though they weren't what you were ultimately trying to express, those attachments can sometimes get in the way. And to realize that the detailing of paint application, of using your tools to create a very fine edge, is crucial to the success, the ultimate success of a painting. There are all kinds of things on the Whole Artist Mastery website to support your practice as an artist, both in terms of details, color application, understanding your visual language. There are online classes that address color application, that address how you use visual language, that help you get out of your head and into reckless abandon through using oil pastels. And we have a free booklet for you to download. You get the PDF, put your email in, and you'll get the PDF that outlines the whole Artist Mastery philosophy, the 4 phases, compositional checkpoints, and a bunch of other stuff that's really important to support you in your practice. So head on over there. And if this was helpful, it really helps all of us if you like the video. And I so look forward to seeing you next time. And thanks so much for watching.